Hi, I'm Diego Kerlegan, and today we're going to talk about my reflection on the self assessment that I made on the two questionnaires on communication skills and style. Let's start from the beginning. The first questionnaire was about my communication skills, which verbal communication was one of the highest, by no surprise to me, because since I was very young, I've always loved to talk about what I like, what I love, what I don't like. I always love to win debates and arguments with other people about any kind of stuff. So expressing myself with words has never been something that I have a problem with. Even with talking with an audience or hearing to the camera, I have never had that much of a stage fright. So that is one on point for the questionnaire because it's really what it is. I always love the verbal communication. In the other hand, the non-verbal communication is not low, but it's not as high as the others. And I think I understand why. Because as long as I am very expressive with my face, and as you can see, I do a lot of gestures with my hands to emphasize some arguments, I do feel that I do not pay that much attention or analyze that well the non-verbal cues on other people. So that is why I think it's not as high as I think it was going to be, because I think I do have to work a lot on being able to express the way and analyze the way the other people nonverbal cues work. I do feel that I have to work on my visual understanding and description on of the environment when I analyze other people. So I do think I have to pay more attention on that. But the other ones, it was not surprise for me either because both active listening and the openness to feedback are really important to me. Because at the end of the day, I love to learn from other people what they want to share. I have worked, for example, the past 2 years in a summer camp in Minneapolis, where we have had staff from Japan, Australia, Spain, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, even Germany. It's from all over the place. And I've always loved to learn about their cultures. I love to listen to their stories, to their costumes, to their traditions, to have this intercultural communication and exchange, to break out these barriers, even with different languages. I love to have those things. And I feel like the active listening has worked so much and so good for me in those regards because I feel like the more I learn about other people's culture, the more rich mine becomes. My own cultural identity grows the more I learn about other people's cultures and how I relate myself with them. So I love that part. Talking a little bit more about the second questionnaire, that it was more about my communication style, it turns out to be that my highest one is the innovation style, which again, it was not that much of a surprise because the characteristics were, if I remember correctly, you can see it right here, is to be creative, to have a lot of ideas, talk fast, and also being unorganized or disorganized. You know what I mean? So I do think that it hits on the jackpot because at the end of the day, as you can see and hear in this video, I do talk a lot. I might talk a little too fast sometimes, but I do have a lot of ideas that sometimes are not that well organized because once I'm starting talking, I come up with another idea or I think about something else and I put it in the same conversation, even in the same sentence, interrupting myself, which is not great for other people to understand what I'm trying to talk about most of the time. So I definitely should work on that, but it was definitely on point with the questionnaire. Something else that I found really interesting and that I can relate to the first questionnaire is that the innovation style focuses on relationships, which is really interesting because in the first questionnaire it was found out that I love active listening and openness to feedback. So these ones relate because how can you care about a relationship or be focused on relationships if you don't have active listening or you are not open to feedback? These are totally correlated and it totally makes sense that I have high on board of them. So I actually like that. I actually like that there is a representation of how much I care about people and how much I want to learn about them and strengthen my relationships with them, even regardless of the culture that they are part of. So, doing a little more research and emphasizing on how digital media and social media have impact on these communication styles and vice versa, I feel like I have to explain that I used to have a YouTube channel back in the day where I talked about movies and series. So that is probably on cue on how much I love verbal communication because I love to talk about anything that I love, as I mentioned in the beginning. And those videos tend to be very long, not hours long, but long in comparison to the average on YouTube. So I do think that that emphasizes the fact that I love to talk, that sometimes my ideas might be a little over the place, but also reinforces the fact that I do have a lot of non-verbal communication cues like the gestures, the expressions, or even using the different media and illustrations in my videos. But again, I do have to work on appreciating those cues on other people. The other thing that I think that emphasizes how digital media has had an impact on my communication and the other way around is my Instagram posts. Because in the pictures where I don't have the verbal communication, I say too much. And in the case of my innovative style of communication, there is a lot of creativity, a lot of color, a lot of ideas over here, over there, that sometimes some people might not understand. You can see right now a lot of the pictures I have posted that are a little weird, So I think that is a little more reinforcing to the fact that I have an innovative kind of style of communication, because even when with my poses, what I'm doing, or my gestures, even wearing masks, you are able to understand what I'm trying to communicate. I communicate joy or a certain kind of personality, and I love that about how my social media is able to represent that about myself, because I'm very careful with what I post, not because I have to be very sophisticated or intelligent with what I post, but because I wanted to be able to actually see the real me. So I feel like digital media has been in clutch with my communication style. So, closing into this reflection, because I don't want you to get tired of me, I just want to say this activity has been very helpful in learning how much I have to learn more about myself and improve on my weaknesses to be able to become a better communicator, both socially and professionally, but also how my strengths are able to position myself in a place of power, in able to succeed as a professional communicator. So I'm really happy about this activity, and I hope I'm able to learn more about my communication styles in the future, so I'm able to present myself in the best way possible. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.